Um, all right. So welcome back, David. How's your holidays going?
Good. Just crazy busy as always.
Oh man, yeah,
Uh,
same.
family in, and then today's my anniversary. So now, of course, last minute anniversary shopping.
Whoa, it's your anniversary day. How do you squeeze in time for this phone call?
You know, I'm a man of many talents. I just don't master any of them.
Okay. Well, you've been mastering the trading off the phone, so that's pretty good. Let's get I guess let's go ahead get started. I don't want this to take so long. I know you're super busy today. I think everyone's busy probably around the holidays. So who's ever watching this? So I'll just go ahead get started and do a quick little introduction about you, but I'll pretty much let you take the floor right away. So anyone that doesn't know, this is David. Now on Discord, you're David Foozer, but I guess it's David Kelly in reality.
Correct.
All right. Well, let's see here. The way we all know you in the Discord is you come in with big size and surprise, you send a screenshot, you're trading on your phone, and everyone is like, what's going on? Who's this David guy? And what is he doing that I'm not doing, right? So I guess for everyone in the community, in the trade journal community, maybe just give a quick little intro about yourself and how you got started, and then I'll keep asking questions from there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, like a lot of people right now, I started around the COVID time. My kids got kicked out of school when the schools closed down. So I was in construction, had a company doing cabinets and countertops, and my wife is in the medical field, so kind of figured she needed to stay where she was. So I took the time off and stopped what I was doing and started taking care of the kids. Um, Shortly after that, I'd say, wasn't but a couple weeks, as I just felt like I was still lacking. I was contributing, taking care of the kids, and the money we saved, because we were in private schools and stuff, and the money we saved from that could potentially equate to a salary for me, but I wasn't contributing financially, and that always bothered me. So I found something to do, and day trading was it. So, like many people, I started with finding Ross on YouTube and watched him for a while and tried to dive in a little too fast and copy trade and not learn, and that all ended up, like most people, failing. Um, then I found you and a couple other people and kind of changed my mindset a little bit into actually learning and seeing patterns and finding ways to do it without just jumping. So that's how I started.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And I think for a lot of people that maybe in the Discord specifically that know you, at least know you as a username, you're trading with pretty big size now, but it wasn't always the case, right?
Yeah, not at all. Like most people, I started with, I think I started Robinhood with like 2 grand, just because a buddy said, hey, I'm doing this, and if you put some money in, you get a free stock. So I tried that. Learned really fastly about a thing called a PDT rule,
Mm.
which
The
made me,
joys.
yeah. So it kind of hindered my trading. Here I was thinking I was going to be able to trade, unlimited and do all these things and make all this money, and not the case. So I opened up another account in TD Ameritrade, which was a cash account, and I could trade more in that, but I had to wait for cash to settle.
Right.
So, after getting my hind tail kicked for a while and realizing that being under the PDT rule was causing me to hold trades too long,
Yeah.
because I couldn't afford to take, you know, more trades. I needed that trade to work because I didn't have another trade left.
I think that's one of the hardest phases to go to in the beginning. I had the same thing with the small account challenge. And I think a lot of people here probably relate to that. But
Yeah. So I ended up, my losses were bigger than they should have been because I was less, I was less okay cutting the trade just because, like I said, you had no more trades left. So eventually I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go all in. I recognized that pattern, that I was doing good trades. I just wasn't able to cut my losses fast enough. Because of that reason, I was like, I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to go PDT. So I opened the account with 26,000. So I had $1,000, over the PDT to play with, to try to work with. And that's basically where I started really trading.
Is this around the same time that you switched to large caps? Because I know you, like you said, you were watching Ross, then me, and then we're both very small cap focused. So and now in the Discord, we know you really love those large caps. So at what point was the pivot to the large caps?
Yeah, so I stuck with small caps for a while.
Yeah.
But I really reduced my size. Like, I mean, minuscule size. Because in my mind, I'd had the conversation with my wife, hey, I've lost this much money. This isn't going to work, so forth. And she kind of picked me up and said, just use that as education, keep trying, forget what you've lost, and move forward from here. So, I did. I refocused and I started over, but I started with super small size. I mean, I might do 1 share to 10 shares to 100 shares, and if it's a $3 stock, I might still be on a 100 share size. Just making sure what I'm doing is learning. But the whole time, I was watching another company. I was watching day traders, and man, they did a lot of large caps. And I'd always heard you can't do large caps. You can't day trade large caps. Can't day trade large caps. And I'm like, but man, I'm watching them every day and they're doing it. And then because I'm watching them, then I'm watching the large caps as well, just kind of watching them. And I started focusing on Tesla because it had such big swings every day at the open. I could see it. It would jump up, $10, $20, $30 within the first 30 minutes of the day. Or it would drop $10, $20, or $30, But the volatility was just massive in that first 30 minutes of trading. So after, I don't know, I probably stuck with the small caps for another couple months. And finally, I'd seen enough of Tesla, and I really feel like I'd seen and learned its pattern, and that's one of the most important things I tell my guys is you have to know your stock. You have to know its patterns, its moving patterns. And so I jumped into Tesla. I started with, small size, and checked on the open that it fit my pattern. And if it did, I jumped in for the day. And if it didn't, I didn't trade. And shortly after that, it started working.
So it looks like you kind of found a strategy at one point that you were able to kind of stick to instead of just, oh, someone's trading this, I got to take it, or,
exactly.
Small caps. And yeah,
there was no more
noise
trading, no more, listening to somebody else and jumping in the same stock as them. I was totally focused on my own thing, and just the strategy that I had found, or came up with. And I know that strategy is out there. Many people probably know it. I have no idea. I haven't really done that much research, to be honest, to know what everything's called. I kind of talked about that last time.
For everyone that's listening, we had a quick one-on-one call last time. Unfortunately, it didn't record, so this is our second attempt, but it's actually really cool because it gives us a little bit more of a clean timeline to talk about, and we know more questions to ask. And I think what was really cool that you mentioned is, when you were kind of getting red in the last conversation, and you talked to your wife, like, I'm down XYZ, and I guess this isn't really worth it for me or make sense for me. And she said, no, you already put in the kind of the tuition cost, and then it seems like you erased the noise, you figured out what worked for yourself. And also what's we talked about in the last call is, and you're saying now is, you don't know what all these kind of, red to green or 5-minute pullback, bull flag, ascending triangle, like all these, that terminology doesn't really matter. But what you noticed is, okay, this ticker, I see it again and again. And correct me if I'm wrong, and it keeps doing these setups. So let me just start trading these setups and not follow anyone else and get really focused here.
Absolutely. Well, all that. and and that's what it was. It was, I'm a math guy, so I kind of see things, I see patterns, I see statistics, like I just see stuff that other people have to study to learn,
Right.
Um, the guys I'm working with, 4 guys right now, teaching them what I do, and one of them is like me, and the other 3 are they need to know the technical,
Mm,
names and what's the pattern and how many minutes do I have to wait? Like they need to know all the detail before they can do stuff.
right.
And that's great. For me, I just saw, like I said, we talked last time, I think it was red to green, you today was perfect. I don't know what day somebody's listening to this, but what is it, December 22nd?
22nd. Yep.
So if you go back and look at Tesla this morning, on the open, it opened at whatever price for the first minute at 9:30, went up to the high of that candle, then it dropped for the
Are,
next
are you looking
couple.
at the 1 minute?
Yeah, I'm looking at the 1 minute. I'm not looking at anything now. I'm just recapping off my brain, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm using
Okay.
one.
In case someone wants to check.
Yeah. If you want to check back on this, you'll see what I'm doing. It's that first minute went, and then it dropped. The second minute stayed below that, and I think it was the third or the fourth minute broke above the high of that first candle, and that was my entry point. Now with Tesla, I give it a little bit more because, say it was $920, I give it to 920.80. To
Mm,
little confirmation that it is going in the right direction. It's not going to just turn around and fail. And I jumped in, and within 5 minutes of the day, I was done trading. I jumped in, I wrote it for I think 2 minutes, maybe 3.
right.
And I was out and done for the day.
Yeah, it's a
So
beautiful thing. You take your setup, you make your profits, and you leave. I think that's a really hard thing to actually end up doing. What helps you do that? What helps you kind of walk away after you take those profits?
well, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Uh, it really is. Like you've seen me on the Discord. There's some days that I'm in there until 8 o'clock at night and after hours.
Right.
So I don't always do that, but if I make my setup and I make my daily goal in whatever account I'm trading in, then I never fall below that. I don't risk any money that's going to allow me to go below that daily goal.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense. Let's say your goal is, I don't know, 500 or 5%, what have you. If
Yeah,
if you start dipping below that, boom, that's it. I'm gonna call
exactly.
it.
Exactly. And
Gotcha.
I'll reduce size. I'll do whatever I need to do to limit that risk to keep
Right.
me falling below that. That's if I want to keep trading for the day.
Right.
I, you know, Psychology is the big, I know everybody says it, but it can't be stressed enough. That is the biggest thing in day trading.
Right.
That psychology.
That's pretty
It's
much all it is. The patterns and everything are quite rudimentary. I feel like in the end, you can explain to a 5-year-old. And if you can't, maybe it's over too complicated, your strategy. But
exactly.
talking about strategies, I know people are going to probably be curious on this. So with the red to green in that, morning, I guess panic, you can call it, where the stock price falls, you don't buy into that sell off. You wait until there's a new 1 minute high being printed, or what's your take there?
Yeah, correct. I don't like, say a stock opens at 300 and the high is 300 and then it starts dropping and it drops all the way to 250. I'm still not buying. Like I'm waiting for the first 30 minutes of the day. I'm waiting for it to break that original high.
Mm,
So it can drop all the way to 250. Moderna is a prime example. It'll drop in Tesla. They'll drop 10, $15 in that first 30 minutes, and then they'll consolidate a little bit, and then they'll climb back up. And it might be 15 to 20 minutes before they break that original high, but I still don't get in until they break it.
right.
So now after the first 30 minutes of the day, it's a little different, strategy. Then I start using a consolidation followed by confirmation. So if it had dropped $20 and then it consolidates for 10 minutes, and then it starts climbing back up, and it in that 10-minute consolidation, if there's a high candle somewhere, then I'm doing the same thing I did at the open. I'm waiting for it to break above that high candle of that consolidation period.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
It does. So that actually, this is going to be my follow-up question. So you left that red to green once it starts breaking higher and starts trending up. But I remember in our last conversation, one of your second favorite things is kind of like trading the range and scalping a bit.
Yep.
And what I find tough with scalping is, it's an easy trap, is, okay, this actually, it's breaking out. Maybe it's going to start continuing. And then you start, buying a breakout on a ranging ticker, and you're just constantly getting chipped at. How do you avoid that?
So when I'm scalping like a consolidation period, I only buy at the low.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
I don't buy when it breaks the high. I don't buy when it breaks the low. I only buy the low, and it's kind of that same concept, but reverse it. I'm still waiting for that confirmation. So say it's going from $1 to $1.20, $1.20, and it's doing that in a 3-minute to 5-minute period over and over and over. I'm not buying that ticker anywhere except for $1.02.
Gotcha.
And that $1.02 is after it hit the dollar, and then it's going back up. I'm not buying it at $1.02 when it falls to $1.02. I'm buying it after it hit the dollar, and then it's bouncing back up to that $1.02.
So it's proven to hold its support at least once.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got confirmation it's going back up.
Okay.
And then if it's going up to $1.20, I'm out at like $1.16.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not
get
all the way to that, that ceiling, because when it hits that ceiling, it can instantly flush, right? So why take that risk? Just, reduce my profit just a little bit, but also reduce my risk immensely.
So it seems really important to know if you're in the range or if you're on the front side, to know how long you're holding it. So when you go into a trade, you're not looking for that reversal. You're not looking for that big moon later on in the day. You're 1% or 0.5%. I'm scalping now, and that's really important. That's really, really important. Could have helped me today.
Yeah. Well, I talked to you last time.
Yeah.
I've been down. There were times where, I'll be down red $300 to $3,000 at the beginning or pre-market, right?
Yeah.
And on those days, most of the time, that's what I do to get back out of it, is I'll scalp. And it's $50, $100, $20, $50, $100, and it's just slowly chipping.
Yeah.
If I make 30 $100 trades, I'm back.
Yeah. The grind becomes real when you're red.
Yeah. And it's not as hard to do on a, for me, unfortunately, for Tesla and Moderna, those type of stocks, it's not hard to get $1 pop in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That's just the price action they have.
That actually leads me to my next question. So people that are in the Discord, they understand you're trading with fairly large size. Now, are you doing primarily leverage? And if so, how do you manage that?
Yeah, I'm all margin. Okay. So right now, I had, pretty big account that I could take, let's just say I could take 300 or 400 shares of Tesla without a problem. But that was using, maxing out margin, right? What I've done recently, as of last Tuesday, is I actually kind of set that account to the side, and I started a new account with $25,075. And I did it because of the 4 guys I'm working with. I'm like, guys, listen, here's the system. Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to do it with you. Kind of like a small account challenge, but, not small. And so for the last 1 week and 1 day, I've been trading just as most people would be that are over PDT rule.
Right.
And still with 25,000, you can take 100 shares of Tesla. So that's price. I set my I set my phone to 100 share is my default. So I'm in and out with that 100 shares. So it's already set. I don't have to punch it in. I don't have to do anything. Every time I place an order or set up an order, it's, already set with 100 shares.
And okay, so you're using smaller size now. You're doing a small account challenge with the friends that you're helping teach. How is using smaller size kind of affecting you? Have you noticed that's a bit of a struggle, or is it easier? Or?
No, I'd say it's the same. The only difference is I have to, I had a $1,100 loss on Thursday, I think it was. Then I made I made it back Friday and Wednesday. But the thing that got me was I forgot, and I know you all don't do a lot of this in the small caps, but in large caps, knowing the price patterns is huge. Knowing your stock's price pattern, not just jumping on a random stock that you don't know anything about or the pattern, but knowing the stock's price pattern, just I can't speak enough about it. The thing that got me the other day was I went in full leverage. Well, I didn't have any money to back up to average down. So with my larger account, I would average down. So if I'm in with, 200 shares, then I've still got 200 shares that I can go in, or 50 at a time, to average down, because I know the pattern and I know it's going to pop back up to this. Right. Or, nobody knows anything, but statistically it's going to pop back up to this.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have that availability the other day with the small account challenge because I maxed out on the first trade, and I tried to place another order and it's like, beep, no money.
So you weren't able to really kind of do exactly what you wanted to do on that trade because you were limited on the account.
Right. So then I had to readjust what I was doing and go with 50 shares to start with, or 30 shares, adding 30, and then adding 10. So it's just a matter of adjusting share size, but the trading is the same. And that's what I'm teaching these guys, because they're like, at first they're like, oh yeah, but you got all this money, and everybody's like, well, to do large caps you have to have an extreme account. And I'm like, well, I'm going to prove it. Like, I'm jumping in the fire with you all and I'm proving it. It's been, like I said, since last Tuesday. And I mean, this is an honest, I'm pulling it up right now. Since last Tuesday, and today I'm sitting at 27,785.51.
Okay. So, and you started at 25K flat?
I started at $25,075. Okay. So I'm up $2,710.51.
Okay.
And that is what, 6 days?
That's not bad at all.
And one of those days, like I said, I had $1,100 loss.
Right.
So it's not as unobtainable as people think it is with a smaller account size. And I know I'm saying smaller, but 25,000 is a pretty standard, hey, let's get over the PD2 roll account,
100% if you're trying to do some proper trading. Otherwise you're gonna go insane. I have whole videos where I did the small account challenge, and I would have 3 trades per day, because I would be rotating like $6,000, $1,000 per trade, and then the settling period, you get that money back in 2 days, and it makes you overthink everything. So
and part of it is also the I hear people say, well, there's too much risk in large caps. Well, and hey, you're using $100,000, because you're using 4 times leverage, and look at all that risk. I'm like, there is, but there's not. Like, I'm still going in saying, hey, if this trade goes south, I have $1, stop loss. Well, $1 stop loss on 100 shares is $100, or 200 if you're $2 stop. It's not a, hey, I'm going down 20 cents on a 10,000 position, 10,000 share position, you go down 20 cents. My math's not working, but You know, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah, it's all relative, right? And in the end of the day, you always have to have your stops. And to get away from like percentages or dollars, where do you usually stop out? Let's say on a red to green, or as yeah, specifically with a red to green, and you're trying to get that trend to the upside. Are you stopping once there's a kind of a low put in under your entry or the former breakout candle?
So one thing that's huge for me is never fall in love with the trade,
Yeah,
because you can cut a loss and you can always get back in a trade.
yeah.
And it's easier to make up a small loss than a big loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a percentage. I don't have a set, hey, I'm looking for this. I have a mental, and I need to do better about this because I am helping these guys and I'm sure they're going to need more than I give them. But I have a mental stop loss by watching the price action of the stock that I'm trading. So if I'm trading Tesla and it's a fairly normal day, then that price action is usually like $2 in a minute, something like that. So my stop loss would be in that $2 range.
Right.
Right. If I'm trading a Moderna, my stop loss might be in the 50 cent to $1 range because it's only having those, size fluctuations in that same time frame.
Mm.
If I'm trading a small cap, then my stop might be, 5 cents, 3 cents.
But ultimately, it's as long as your thesis is right, you'll hold. Otherwise, boom, out.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. As soon as it depends on what the chart does as well. So like say I get in at $100 and it goes up to 101, but man, it sits there for like a minute and a half, and then it is dropping to 90, or dropping to 199, 197, back up to 100. Well, I'm out because I see that it's got a pattern of possibly dropping.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out. It's consolidating, it's hovering too long. I'm not going to hold it and risk it all of a sudden, boom, drop my dollar and I'm back down instead of up.
Right. Yep. I'm the same way. How long are your trades on average? How long are you holding for?
It depends on the day. It depends on the stock, to be honest. Like most of my trades, I would say the majority of my trades are within 30 seconds to a minute.
Wow, okay. So that's very similar to me then.
Yeah. That's why I try to explain to people. I'm a small cap day trader in large cap world.
Okay.
Like,
Gotcha.
I'm constantly telling you all, man, I got out too soon. Well, that's because I'm small cap trading in a large cap,
Yeah. I always feel like you have really good entries or exits based on the Discord.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always different, selective reading and whatnot, right?
So today, I think my Tesla trade was a long one for me. It was, they said it was 2 minutes or 3 minutes, somewhere in that, maybe even a minute. It's like anything. When you're in a trade, it's forever, right? So literally, I could be closing in the same minute, but it felt like it was 3 minutes.
Oh man, I can so relate to that.
So it's just but the majority of them are, like I said, they're pretty quick, especially after that opening time frame.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for in that first 30 minutes, a lot of those trades will be a little longer, will be the 2-3 minutes. And like I said, I'll challenge any of y'all, just go look at the chart. Go look at your big ones that are volatile right now: Tesla, Moderna, Firm, Upstart, just all of those in the first 10 minutes of the day, and how much room they move. If you catch it and it hits the right pattern, man, you can hold it for 10 minutes, if you want to. Now, there's always a point where, like I said, it goes from $100 to 103 and then drops back to 102. Well, that's usually when I'm out. But Other people can stay in because it never goes back to their entry. And if they're willing to, they can hold that trade, and then it bounces right back up and it runs for, the first 30 minutes of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what happened to Tesla today. And I'll throw up the charts in the video. While Moderna had kind of a similar red to green, but then it failed and then started consolidating around 253 and 256.
Yep. And I made a trade on, let's see here. I made a trade on Tesla, like right after the open. Sorry, I'm getting a little technical. So I was in Tesla at 967.67. I happen to be a numbers guy, so I try to make my entries somewhat match. So 67.67.
And that's right when it broke up that initial red candle on the open.
And then I was out in 1 minute.
Okay, nice.
And back in and out. But then I went straight to Moderna at 9:35 when it broke. And I say that I can't, it's on my phone. I know I touched base about this. So I've got 4 guys that I'm working with. So we're all on a Zoom call when the open starts, and each one is looking at different stocks because I can't focus on more than one on my phone. So one of the other guys is on Moderna. I was on Tesla. I tell him, hey, Tesla's about to hit the pattern. Boom, we jump in Tesla. Boom, we jump out of Tesla. One of the other guys says, hey guys, Moderna's about to get it. So we all flipped to Moderna, and the moment Moderna hits that entry point, we jumped in and then jumped out. So I was in Moderna for 1 minute as well, from 35 to 36. So, yep. And then that was pretty much my trading for the day. I've done some scalping just because my father-in-law's in town and I wanted to teach him a little thing or two.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so in my small account, it's not a huge win, but it's huge in this account because my daily goal on this account is $300. You think about a $25,000 investment, right? $300 a day. That is, I think there's 252 trading days in a year, which is like $76,000 a year. For a normal person, $75,000 is a huge salary.
That's a nice chunk of change.
So that's what I'm teaching these guys. These are normal, hardworking guys. Like, you can do this and you can make a living, in 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And that's,
Before I want to ask about like your future trading and potentially getting a desktop. Before we talk about that, I think probably a lot of people are just mind blown when they hear you talking about your phone. So
right.
So I know I am. I just still get the shivers every time I hear it. So just to recap a few things we talked about yesterday, go through it quicker. You used TOS at first, but then you found that you like TD Ameritrade app more. It was a little bit quicker for you to enter and exit. And then also on the time frames, and I found this quite interesting, you're actually really focused on the 1 minute, while I feel like I always do much better on the 5 minute. And then you actually, on top of all that, you really focus on the bid and the ask specifically. So sometimes you're not even watching the candles, you're actually just watching the bid and the ask.
Absolutely.
I'm going to show a picture here. And I mean, he's basically watching the spread between it and how it's moving. And I find that astonishing.
Yeah. So, and it might be wrong, but it works for me. It's what I do.
As long as it works for you, right? I can never judge another trader because, if they're making money, then something's working, right?
Right. So, I use the app. I started on my computer. I have an antique computer that just didn't work. It actually crashed one day in the middle of a trade.
Oh, man.
And when I first started, and it cost me a lot of money, and the only thing I knew to do was try to find an app. So I found the TOS app. I downloaded it on my phone and couldn't figure out how to get out of the trade. So I watched a video real quick. Then I jumped back onto my app. I realized I watched a video on the TD Ameritrade app, not the TOS app. So then I had to download the TD Ameritrade app, and because that's what I'd watched the video on. and it's faster to download an app than it is to rewatch a video.
So true.
So I downloaded the app for TD Ameritrade and closed my trade out for significant loss.
Gotcha.
And then day forward, lived TD Ameritrade. I tried a couple times on the TOS app and still couldn't figure out, how to get to where I wanted as fast as I did on the TD. So now I've got it down pretty efficiently to where I can get in and out of trade. And, I think if you have a good computer, of course you're going to beat me, but I'm pretty efficient at getting in and out of a trade.
Yeah, and we talked about this quite a bit. I think on our last call, and you do prefer using a phone too, because it gives you the ability to kind of live your life and help out your kids and do a bunch of other things, as opposed to being kind of landlocked on a desktop, right?
Absolutely. And that was, part of COVID, was now I had time with my kids, and I had decided when that happened that I was going to make the most of it. I'm going to spend as much time, valuable time, not just me sitting there and then watching TV, but valuable time that they're going to remember with them from now on. Like, every second I get a chance, I'm spending that time with them, which is why I developed this 30 minutes. I love 30 minutes in the market, because from 9:30 to 10, I can let them watch a little something or whatever, eat breakfast, and I can trade, and then boom, I'm done, and we're off to Busch Gardens or, whatever. So that was very important to me to be able to do. And then, sorry, I'm going to backtrack for a second. You were talking about the bid ask. But yeah, I mean, when I'm in a trade, that's all I watch is the bid ask. And I'm just watching it for if the ask is going, is stationary basically, but the bid's falling, and then popping back and then falling and then popping back, then my gut is it's about to drop. First, if the bid's kind of staying stationary and the ask is popping up and popping down and popping up, and then, a little bit more and a little bit more, then I feel like, it's about to pop. And that's all I use. I know people talk about level 2 and 3 and all that. And, it's one more thing because I'm on my phone that I would have to switch to or deal with. And I've just learned to be efficient watching the bid ask,
Yep.
And the last, the bid ask and the last, because the last also gives you a judge of, okay, is that falling closer to the ask or is it falling closer to the bid? What's it staying more?
Where is it hovering? Yeah. And on that page with the bid ask last and the change, there's no chart on that page.
Correct.
Yeah, that's mind blowing. That is trading up with no charts. That is next level. Yeah, I gotta almost digest that fully. Now, here's a side question: pre-market or market open? What do you prefer more?
It's hard, man. That's a hard one. I love small caps. You don't know how much I love small caps.
Oh yeah, they're great.
But to make a living, large caps are the way to go for me. So I even told you last time, I think, I'll reduce size. I'll, do some other things to limit my risk in small caps, and I'll still do some small caps. Pre-market, great. I would say without a doubt, my most efficient is after the market opens.
It's that red to green and then the ranging later. It seems like that seems like your bread and butter.
And then the small cap and the pre-market is like I traded, didn't tell them, but in my other account, I traded Tesla this morning, pre-market in my larger account because, Tesla, but it just skyrocketed pre-market at like 7:15, I think it was, something like that.
It started a gap up, huh?
Yeah, I went from like 966 to 976.
Yeah, insane.
Had a $10 move. I caught about a third of that, but still, it was a good pre-market.
A third of a move that's a chunk. That's all you need.
So, but I like the market because I lose so much money that other people would make because I trade on my phone, I think. because I sell market.
Okay.
Like that's huge for me though, to get in and out of trades is I buy limit and I sell market.
Okay.
Um, and I do that because once again, the stocks I trade move so much, and it's really hard to type in my limit. And they also have such a huge spread. Like, Tesla's died down for the day, and I'm looking at it right now, and it's a 30-cent spread,
Yeah, if you're
It's,
scalping, 30 cents is big.
yeah, it's 58 to 00 right now,
Yeah,
63 to 7. It's got a huge spread.
that would help definitely for the desktop.
Yeah,
You can move your orders quite quickly.
yeah. So like I said, I'm losing out on a ton of money that other people with desktops are going to catch, but it's just not my way of trading.
Yeah, it's
I've
gonna have
learned,
other negatives probably for you.
yeah, I've
Yeah,
just learned how to adjust, and I've learned how to use it to my advantage.
yeah.
Um,
Do you short stocks?
I don't short large caps. I say that. I short Apple and I short, is it a firm or Upstart? One of those two I can short because TD Ameritrade doesn't allow you to short a lot of stuff.
It's crazy. Yeah, almost
So,
everything.
so I think it's a firm. Maybe it's Upstart. Haven't done it in a while. But like those are the only two large caps that I really short. It's too, I don't know. It's the same type of trading, I guess, the same risk. I just don't see it the same when I do it.
Right.
So I stay away from shorting it. Now I will do a like stock short. So like Tesla, yeah, if it's not a news stock, or if it's not a stock specific news catalyst and it's a market catalyst and Tesla's falling, then I'll short NEO, right? Because NEO pretty much is the Chinese Tesla.
Mm,
Follows the same patterns as Tesla as long as it's not a stock specific catalyst that day.
okay.
So, and that allows me to take larger share size, limit my risk, and all those things by shorting a smaller. I guess Neil's probably a mid cap.
Yeah, for sure.
But so, yeah, other than that, I'd never ever short a small cap.
Yeah, no, I can't really get myself to do it either. I maybe like a handful of times a year, but that's already a lot.
Yeah.
And there has to be a perfect setup. So
And then,
yeah, sorry.
go ahead.
No. Okay, so you're teaching these guys, these four people or so. Where do you see that going? What do you want to accomplish with that? Are you thinking about setting up a fund or or what's the plan here? Is there no plan?
No, there is no plan, but there's many ideas.
Awesome. Yeah.
So
It's a fun phase.
yeah, so originally this is the discovery phase to find out what works and what doesn't.
Mm,
Originally, I wanted to help these guys, and I wanted them to come into the fold, kind of, because I needed, kind of like me and you talked about. I don't have a computer, so I don't have multiple monitors, right?
yeah.
So I wanted a community of people that could be my multiple monitors,
Right.
because I can't watch Tesla and it get close to my setup and it's hovering right there, and it's eating up 10 minutes of my time because it's sitting there hovering and I'm waiting for it to pop through. But here I missed 3 other stocks that actually made the move,
Yeah.
because that's what I got to do. I got to sit there and stay focused on that one that's getting close to the move. So I was like, man, if I could teach, 5 to 10 guys how to do this the way I do it, and it worked for them, then we could each be on one stock or 2 stocks. And then, like I said, when the setup shows itself, then we could, tell each other. And that's what we've been doing for the last while. And it seems to be working great.
No, I can see that. Have you started teaching your kids to trade?
No, not. So my oldest is 9, so I got a little ways to go.
Fair enough. And have you considered using multiple phones?
No.
That's
The
awesome.
only consideration that, so going from that to if I can get these guys profitable. if I can get these guys where they feel like this is what they're going to do for a living, then do we turn it into, like, I don't know if you've watched Day Trader Live or Live Trader TV.
Yeah. Yep. On YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep. The
Do
streams.
we turn it into something like that, but not with the streaming? I don't know that I would do that, but
That's a whole
like
different world. Yeah.
for ourselves. So do we all show up at the same place at 9 o'clock in the morning, have a conference room with multiple screens, and then trade together, and then boom, we leave.
You better be there by 7 a.m.
Yeah. Well, I'm not teaching them pre-market.
Yeah, okay. No, actually, I like that. That sounds like really good fun. I would love something like that. Maybe once I'm off the road a bit more.
Yeah. So they don't even know how to get in and out of trade pre-market. So I'm hoping to keep it that way, to be honest.
Teach them, but not too much. That's funny.
Right.
That's
Well,
awesome.
the more you know, the more likely you are to get in trouble.
That's actually true. We actually talked about that quite extensively in the last call, where with trading, the grass is always greener on the other side, and if you're not focused, you just start trying everything, and then you lose everywhere.
Yeah, I feel like there's a million small cap traders in the world that try small caps.
Yeah.
There's a handful that try large caps.
Yeah.
And I would guess, I have no idea, that more of the ones that try large cap percentage wise succeed than the small cap.
Could be.
And I would say that's because of the gamble factor. Like, man, who wouldn't want to make $20,000 in one day? Who wouldn't want to make, $2,000 in one day? And that's what small caps kind of dangles out there for you is, hey, look, guys, look, this $2 stock, man, you can take 2,000 shares. That's only $4,000 of your money. And if it goes up $1, there's $2,000 right there.
Right there.
That's so tempting to so many people. And I think that's why there's so many people that try small caps, right?
Yep.
It's the easy, fast money potential.
Yeah, I mean, BVXV, the ticker we traded today, up over 100%. Right now, it's actually chilling around 90% up on the day. But yeah, you nail just one of those front sides. You made 20% in 2-3 minutes. Yeah, always easier said than done, right?
Yeah. But nobody sees until they get into it. Right. Nobody sees this isn't real, or this is only real for a certain handful of people.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know Ross, and Ross is a fluke. Like, there's not very many people that are doing what Ross does.
No.
It's not.
It does slay that. And you also need a certain platform. Like I honestly, I can't even trade, I think, as fast as Ross on TD Ameritrade. It's just simply not possible. I mean, technically I could type in the orders and everything as fast.
Sure.
But the fact that it's not a direct access broker and it reroutes the Citadel and God knows where else, you really feel that. I mean, today, I think alone, again, it was like 5 times or so where the wicks go below my limit orders. I don't get a quick execution, and I'm just like, oh, come on, man. Like, so it would be very hard buying open breakouts. I honestly don't do it because I know TOS usually crashes at the open on big volume. Like, sure. Certain platforms don't allow certain trading strategies, let's just say, or do allow it. Yeah.
And that example is why that's why I sell market.
Yeah.
It's because how many times have you tried to sell in that quick moving thing and the wick moves and you're like, dude, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like you didn't feel. That's ridiculous. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm biting the bullet, because if it saves me one time, then it saved me a ton of money, If just one time it fills at a market versus skips my fill at a limit, then, I'm saving money.
Yeah. God forbid you start chasing to the downside just to get out. That's always the worst place to be.
Yeah. And if I do a limit, I'll do it below. So say I'm at a $3 stock and I want to get out at 280 as my limit. I might set it at 270 on my limit order, and I'm waiting. And then when it drops to 278 and then bounces back up to 281, I hit my exit on my 270. and it fills at 281.
Yeah.
So I protect myself from it falling past that 280, because if it dropped to 276 and I saw it go 275, 4, boom, I can still hit it and I'll be out at 276 or 5.
On the phone, does it kind of link your limit orders and market orders, or can you trip over yourself with 2 orders on the phone, or how does that work?
I guess I don't know that question.
Fair enough. I guess it's all about, trial and error. Actually, whenever I try something new, usually with any sort of stops or something, I usually just go on paper, and that's the one time I'll do paper. Have you ever did paper trading, or is that something you would even consider?
I didn't. I did years ago. I did like an options class, suckered into that. Spent a lot of money for nothing.
You got to do it at least once.
Yep. And so I messed with the TD Ameritrade paper, or the TOS paper trading.
Yeah.
Trying to learn that. But other than that, I've always been a hands-on. Like, I've got to learn it myself. You can teach me all you want. That's awesome. But while you're teaching me, tell me how to do it and let me do it. And that's what I've done. Like I said, that's when I switched to large caps. That's why I still did it, but I did it with small size. Like, let me just do it.
I couldn't agree more. Just so I don't want to take up too much of your time and the viewers, is there something that we haven't covered that you think is maybe very valuable for somebody to know, or that you wanted to discuss?
I don't know. No, I mean, like I said, the main thing is don't get discouraged. If what you're doing is not working, then try something different.
At what point do you think somebody should pivot, maybe?
I think we talked about this last time, and I'm thinking, 2 months, somewhere in there. If you're doing the same thing over and over and it's not working, you've got to get out. Like, you've got to try something different.
Yeah.
If it's just switching up share size, it's switching up. Hey, I'm only trading this setup from now on. Whatever it is, you have to try something different.
Yeah.
I just
focus on one thing first. Master one thing first.
Master one thing, and that's why I said that about my guys. They don't know how to. They literally do not know. They've been doing this for a few months, and they literally do not know how to get in and out of a pre-market trade because I haven't taught them that. I don't want them to know that. I want them to master this and then move on to the next thing. And it's so hard. Like, I get texts and phone calls every day of, this morning, prime example. I'm only one of the guys were in the group this morning, and we traded together. We did the Tesla and we did the Moderna. We both, positive trades. 2 trades, done for the day, daily goal. And, well, I said bye at, I think it was 9:35. I said, hey, man, I'm out. So from 9:30 to 9:35, and I'm out.
Oh, man, that doesn't get any better.
Yeah. And he still traded. Well, he traded stuff that wasn't the setup. And I called him back a little while later, and it was, hey, man, how'd you do? I kind of went a little red. I'm like, why? He's like, I just, and he told me what he did. And I was like, oh, well, so what I taught you worked, right? Like, you didn't fail at what I taught you. Nope, that worked. Great. I'm like, cool. That's all I care about.
And there's also, it's nice to have that accountability. And I think that's what we're trying to do with our community. And it's awesome that you can do it with your local friends. That's huge.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's what I share my P&L screenshot every single day with one guy specifically because he's, just the one I do. But every single day he sees my losses, he sees my gains. Every day I share my P&L.
Dang. We're going to get you on Trade Journal. Document your trades there.
I just, I screenshot it and I send it to, because, everything's on the phone. So I just screenshot my homepage and it's got right there. It's parentheses of green or it's parentheses red. And Yeah, it's so important to have that accountability. If any of y'all are out there trading and you have a spouse and you're doing this and they don't know what you're doing exactly, stop. Let them know what you're doing, because it's easy to go down the rabbit hole and dig yourself in a hole that's going to get you not only in financial trouble but in relational trouble.
Mm.
You know, so just be open, be honest, and the best thing is to be honest, because it's going to keep you accountable. And if it's not working, now you have somebody else who's going to help you see that it's not working. Or if it is working, somebody else is going to validate you and support you, you know?
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. My girlfriend, after I trade, is always, did you hold the front side? Are you trading the pullbacks? And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't know. It's so true. Yeah, that's such good advice. Now I know you don't have a Twitter handle or anything people can connect you with. And you said check out or you're on Discord, and I'll leave your Discord below, or at least our Discord with your username.
Sure.
Is there anything else you kind of want to leave people with, if it's a way to connect, or just a final note, or anything?
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to connect with me, is just, hit me up in that Discord. And pretty much, let me see. I like notes.
I love that you took some notes. Thanks for trying to share as much as you can with us. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, risk versus reward. Always. So one of the big things I tell the guys is always know your exit before you set your entry.
Mm.
So like I said, that, we talked about it at the first of the call, that Tesla entry this morning, I knew it was a $2, gap, $2 stop. So I knew that as soon as the moment I hit send on that order, I knew if it dropped to here, I was out. I'm not in love with that trade thinking, oh, I just know, look, the markets are going up. This is going up. I know Tesla's going up today.
Yeah.
Well, I do know that. I did know that. But I knew at the moment the trade, I didn't today, but in that moment, if you know the trade's going against you, get out. You can get back in.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if it goes against you too far, then there goes the mind game again. Oh, it's against me 1,000. Man, I guess I need to hold it a little longer because it'll bounce back up and it'll only be down 500. Well, then it's 1,500. Oh man, I can make it 500 back and I'll only be down 1,000. Well, then you're down 2,000.
That's a dangerous mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know that exit strategy.
Yeah.
And one step at a time, slow and steady. Learn your stuff. But be open. If you're not, like I said, if you're not doing good at what you're doing, be open to try something else.
Mm-hmm.
One way I love our Discord. I love our community. As far as I know, nobody trades the way I do in there. Yet
That's true.
I've still hung around for over a year. Even though kind of sometimes I feel like I'm the I'm the lone child.
I know it's fine. There's so many people doing unique things, like that interview I was talking about last time with Jen and Brent, talking about their options trading strategy. You with your large caps, and there's so much you can learn from so many different people. How long have you been in the Discord? You said a bit over a year now.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably in that March range. I'm guessing March or April.
Gotcha. And you've been trading now for maybe closer to 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trading for a while, and then the trading really started up, when COVID hit. So it started up in March of 2020.
Yeah.
That's when the day trading came into.
I guess last question here. Getting consistently profitable. What do you have to say about that? How long did it take you? And is there red months, green months, or what's your focus there?
It's a hard one, Alex. I feel bad sometimes because I know I'll post something about my day and I'm like, wow, man, other people aren't doing that. But I have pretty consistent green days. Like because I keep it simple. I keep it simple, stupid, KISS.
Best principle. Yeah.
That's what I've learned. And like you said, if the trading patterns, strategies are really not that hard. What's hard is psychology. It's that's what I've lived by. And to be honest, I don't know how to say it, but like 80 to 90% of my days are green, and if they're red, they're not huge red, unless I do something stupid.
Right.
Always I do something stupid. It's not, hey, the market did this, it flushed on me. Nope, I did something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I and I've learned not to trade. Like a couple of days ago, I guess a couple of days ago, a week or so ago, I logged on. I said, hey guys, the market's down 2%. Like most of our stocks are in the NASDAQ that we trade. If it's down 2% before the open even starts, I'm probably not trading today.
Yeah.
Like just not taking risk. There's no sense in it.
I think that's once you're at that phase of trading, I think not just have you made it, but it's also such a luxury place to be, because I think when you get started, you feel like you're not learning if you're not trading and so on and so forth. And it's so easy to, over trade. But when you can take a step back like that and you have the luxury, if it's financially or if it's time or whatnot, that's the golden part of becoming a trader. That's when the clouds open up.
Yeah, and that's all psychology and math though, because to be honest, it's like that for everybody. Even when they're starting from the get-go, they just don't know it.
Yeah.
If
it could be day one, technically. Yeah.
If you understood from day one that it's okay not to trade today because I want to make twice as much tomorrow as I would have made today, then you'd be much better off. But instead, even like I said, my guys, some of them feel like they have to trade every day. They have to make this trade. They have to make their goal every day. They have to make profit every day. Well, you don't.
Yeah.
Because today, I'm up 594.49 on this small account. Okay. 594.49 is twice the daily goal that I set for this account. When I started this account, I said $300 a day is a daily goal, which, like I said, is 75,000 a year, or something like that. Right? Of course, it's gonna compound, because once I get up to 30,000, then I can take bigger share size, and my 300 is going to become 400, and then it's going to be 50,000, and I'm going to be 500 daily limit, and so forth.
Oh yeah.
So it won't be 75,000 a year; it'll end up being 110,000 a year, or whatever.
That's so true. That actually helps me relax when I'm really frustrated. When I was doing the small count challenge, I would be beating myself up if I was up or down $50. I'm like getting emotional about kind of nothing in a way. Nowadays, I'll be up or down, 1,000 in 30 seconds in one trade. And even if I'm down and have a max loss of $2,000, I'll be thinking, in a year from now, I might be having a $20,000 day, and these, looking back, I'm just going to laugh at all this stuff. So that's, kind of taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture is so important. Yeah. But I guess if I could add to what you were saying about, if you're, first day trader and first time, if like you don't have to trade today, I think the hard part about that, and this is why it's maybe nice to do a small account challenge, is you don't know what a good and bad day really looks like yet. So you don't have that luxury to step back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping to instill on the guys that I'm helping.
Yeah.
Is let my struggles, let my hard knocks learning benefit you.
Yeah.
So don't go through it. I know you're going to have some that you're going to have to go through yourself, but start at this point, because I've already got you there.
Yeah.
Don't start.
I like that. Do you think everyone needs to have like a big loser to get better?
I think it helps for sure. But I think it could be detrimental as well, because I think some people have that big loser, and then, I do know one terminology, and then they revenge trade. And they get stuck in that revenge trade from then on. and they never get out of it.
Horrible place to be. Yeah.
So it's like I said, psychology. I think that you need the big loser to kind of get you, kick your butt in gear. But for some people, I think it's even worse because when they do have that loss, they don't forget. I guess that's one thing I could add. You forget about the day before. Every single day is a new day.
Yep.
Like, I mean, every single day. I couldn't tell you how much I made yesterday. I just can't because I don't care. Like, it's a new day. Today's all I care about. And then tomorrow, same thing. I won't be able to tell you what today's profit was unless I look back and talk to somebody about it. It's just, you got to focus on the one day at a time. So if you have that big loser, don't chase it, man. It's such a bad place to be. Just take your loss, go back to your day, and start chipping away one day at a time.
Amen to that. I couldn't agree more. Every day's, if anything, trading should help people live in the moment. That's so good.
And knowing the market, you hear it all the time. The market's always there.
It'll be there tomorrow. Yeah.
It'll be there tomorrow. And if the market crashes, guess what? It's going to rise again too. So every bad day, every red day that the market has is like a spirit lifter for me because I know that there's going to be a good day coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the last week when it had 2 or 3 solid red days in a row on the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Dude, I was excited, man. Tesla went from like, holy moly, 1,200, to 800.
Mm-hmm.
Like, awesome. Because you know what that means? That means it's going to go back up and I get that much chance to ride it back up.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about that too. And don't fall in love with the stock. Like, don't fall in love with the stock.
Yeah, no, you really don't want to. We did have a long conversation about that on the last call, less so about this one. And in a way, that's why I do like trading the small caps, because every single day it's a new ticker in my face, and I don't have usually any biases about it. And that's actually why I don't like when there's multi-day runners, because it just makes me a little bit anxious. But yeah, like again, like it's hard to give someone like that kind of advice, new trade stock every day, because for you get really good at reading these tickers, and for you that's a huge benefit. So yeah, I guess find what works for you, and if it doesn't work for you, like you said, pivot after 2, maybe even 3 months or so. Because I know when I was trading crypto for 2 years, we talked about this last time, I had a really hard time constantly trading Litecoin every single day at one point, because I had these long-term biases on it that messed up my intraday trading, and I tripped over myself a lot. It worked long-term. It worked. I was profitable, but I find trading small caps, new ticker every day, much easier because I avoid those biases. But yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, David, thank you so much for not just chatting and sharing all your information with us, but doing it twice because of the first call.
Oh, you're good.
I really, really do appreciate that.
I think I've always said, man, I want to help people as much as I can. It's kind of what I've been built on in my life, is the word help. And whether that's re-roofing somebody's house when a tornado comes, or, give them a hug when they need a hug, or helping them, figure out how to trade, like, just help. So I'm glad to do it. And if anybody needs help or wants help, hit me up and I'll do all I can do.
I love that, man. This world needs more people with that mentality like you. That's awesome. Appreciate it. And I'll see you then in the Discord and everyone else.
Awesome, man. Have a good Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you too. Take care then. Ciao.